Hello and welcome to Random Fandom FC, the podcast where we follow a random team each week. I'm Rob, Arsenal fan living in the States, and that over there is John, my fellow Scouser. How you doing, John?
Very good, sir. Very good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm buzzing off the chat that we just had with I don't want to give it away because we're going to introduce it in a minute. So we have a Barrow fan this week to follow the mighty Barrow. It was brilliant talking to him. That's the whole reason behind starting this pod was to pick random teams and find fans that can bring those insights. So I love that chat. What did you think?
Oh, it's superb. It's getting a real fan's insight into a club that you haven't seen or heard a lot of because they're in the lower leagues. Fantastic.
Yep. But before we get into those lower leagues, we need to give an update on the random fandom fantasy Premier League tables. So over to you to take us through this, and I'm on tenterhooks to find out where I am on the table.
Well, you're going to be glad to know that you are above mid-table. You're in the dizzy heights of ninth place.
Ninth. What we got? 25.
25 so far. We can add if you're on here. Ask your friends. Come and join us. If you're listening to the podcast for the first time and you haven't entered a team yet, please enter. The links are on our social media pages. But it pains me to tell you, Rob, that I am bottom of the league, 25th out of 25.
I think you've done a solid one there. I mean, no one likes it if the two hosts come in and are lauding it at the top of the table. So, I kind of went in just above mid-table to not embarrass too many people. And you've taken one for the team. You've got yourself, you can see the striker's through on goal, so you've just taken him out, and you've got a red card, and you're sitting at the bottom of the table. So,
I wish I could claim it was deliberate. But
So I think what we said you were going to do was we'll give shout outs to, what did we say, the Champions League positions, the top five of the league.
yes, top five. I mean, in my defense, by the way, I chose the right team. It's just that the players didn't perform like they should have. So it's all down to the players. My team was good on paper.
What's your name, Amarin?
It's the tactics. Dear, oh dear. Right, let's go reverse order, shall we? So we'll go top five. So in at five is Gad Elkin, who is a friend of mine from secondary school, Southgate Secondary School in North London.
What's his team name? Have we got? Did he go for a pun? What have we got in there?
Liverpools.
Liverpools. Oh, okay.
He's a big Liverpool fan. His first ever Liverpool game was with me when we watched Liverpool versus Fulham, and he can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure that is his first ever Liverpool game, and we won 3-1 away. Yeah,
Nice. In at fifth.
In at five. Well done, Gad. And then we have number four. We've got Steve Edwards. His team. He's a friend of mine.
No.
North London buddy. He's Jack Army. He's a big Swansea City fan.
Okay.
Yeah. Who incidentally, that was Swansea City was Barrow's first, their highest attendance.
Look at you seamlessly bringing together the different aspects of the pod.
Yeah. So well done, Steve. In at number three is Kershwin, who is a friend of mine. He's in the Liverpool away supporters group, so that meets in Collinsville. So yes, well done, Kirsch.
Oh, just looking on there, the red slot machine. You wouldn't have figured out that he was a Liverpool fan.
It's a good name, that as well, isn't it? Red slot machine. In at number two, I don't know this guy. So Rob, do you know David Stack?
Yes, I do. My old university strike partner, a big Spurs fan, which means that he's many places above me. So yeah, nice one, Dave. Well done. Let's. So who's top of the pile after 2 weeks?
It's an interesting name by Dave as well. Change name.
Yeah, I saw that. Now I don't
Case
know
marker?
Is it a place marker? Dave, you're sitting second in the league. We need better than change name. Now, did you put a naughty one in that Premier League kind of didn't get through their review process, or is that some hilarious pun that we don't get? So let us know. Now, looking at this, there's a story attached to number one, isn't there, John?
There is. The team name is Chicken Tikka Mosala, which is fantastic, isn't it? Um, this is Raiden Evans, and for those who don't know, Raiden is my daughter. So we
So, if I get this right, our entire fantasy Premier League is bookended by you right down at the bottom and your daughter right up at the top.
That is right. We are both being absolutely crushed by a 13-year-old girl, an eighth grader. Yeah.
Oh, I won't spend ages like jumping into mine. I decided to go down classic song Bob Marley. I've got No Woman, No Kai, which, funnily enough, Arsenal now have No Kai now that he's having knee surgery. So I've just cursed him just through having his name in my team. I'm just going to say, I'm looking at you, Cole Palmer, Bruno Fernandes, Danny Welbeck. You're all costing me points by either not playing or not scoring your penalties. So if you could just buck your ideas up, that'd be great. You must need to buck all 15 of yours up, I guess, John.
Well, I'm called so good it verts. Perhaps I should have put so bad it verts.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, I've got a great team. I just don't know what's going on. I really don't. I mean, the injury to Frimpong didn't help.
So, so what we're saying is, for your daughter, we should do
Mhm.
this. Yeah. Whereas for you, we need to do this. Is that what we're saying?
I think that's very accurate. Very accurate. Yeah.
Right. Okay, that's enough of that. Everyone, like John said, if you're not already taking part, if you've got a team and you haven't joined our league, don't worry, you won't start at 0 points. You bring those points on across into our league. So if you do come across, please, nobody that's got like millions of points already. We don't want your sort around here. Give us a chance. But anyway, yes, join the league. But now we have to get on to talking about Barrow because they were the ones that we pulled out of the supercomputer in episode 1. So let's listen to us talk to the fan that we found. Okay, so last time out, we picked out of the hat Barrow, and we were pretty sure, John and I, that we were going to be sitting here talking about Barrow based on all the stuff that we could find on the internet and reading out match reports, because there's no way that you can find a Barrow fan in such short amount of time. Or is there? So let's find out who we've got today. So we have a Barrow fan here, John. What's your name, and how long have you been supporting Barrow?
So I'm Neil McClellan. I live in the States now, but I've been supporting Barrow, well, I guess my whole life, really. But my first kind of knowledge of Barrow really was probably the 1980 season, 80, 81, round about then. Yeah, a long time ago.
And is there a first memory, a first game, or a first moment that you knew you were a Barrow fan?
Well, I guess the first memory is going to the games. Well, so as you're aware, the games in the 80s were a little bit more tetchy, especially in the terraces. And my dad was a policeman, and so we'd go to the games because my dad would be on duty, and they always would allow police officers in for free. So just to help with the crowd control. So we slipped to the gate there, and my dad shows his warrant card, and they open the gate, we get in for free. You know, way to support non-league football when they're strapped for cash and we don't even pay anyway. So remember going and kind of sneaking in the back door with my dad, and then we came out, and it must have been a cup game, and I can't remember what it was, but there was a cup game, and we were walking back from the stadium, and I think United were playing on, and it was televised and on the BBC, I think, and they were showing it in the shop window of Rumbelows. And all of these, if you've got American listeners, Rumbelows, this electric shop, sells TVs. But everybody's being Barrow, who was the Alliance Premier League, we were most people there have a Premier League team too. So there were a lot of United fans, a lot of Liverpool fans. There was a few Forest fans around in the 80s still. And so we all crowded around the window at Rumbelows, and there was a big crowd pushing against the Rumbelows window trying to see what was going on the little tiny TV there, and the window cracked, and all hell broke loose, and my dad had to go into duty mode as people started nicking the TVs from the Rumbelows window. So it's not really a Barrow memory per se, and I don't know why that made me fall in love with Barrow, but it did, and so yeah, I was like, oh, Dad, take me back there. It was a fun day. So yeah, that's my story of becoming a Barrow fan.
Oh, that's brilliant. I don't know that we've spoken to anybody who picked their team from watching an angry mob steal TVs, but
that's Barrow for you. That's that's an average Saturday in Barrow. It's a tough town.
Now, I do have to give John credit here, because after we pulled Barrow out the hat last week, or whenever it was, I kind of looked at him and I was like, we're never going to find a Barrow fan. And then your eyes lit up, John. It was like...
Well, I think our listeners are going to start thinking that it's a fix, that we've just, pushed the computer to create this, because... Yeah, it's unlikely you're going to find a Barrow fan in Barrow, let alone in the States. So yeah. So
that's a fine point, actually, John, because the Barrow team doesn't actually train in Barrow. They train at the FC United of Manchester Stadium, and they used to train at Salford Stadium because we had a really troubled time getting any players to play for us. Nobody wants to go down the biggest cul-de-sac in Britain, which is the A590 that ends at Barrow. And so we can't get any players. So in order to get players, we have to say, well, you don't have to go to Barrow apart from on home games. So every other Saturday you have to go to Barrow. But so it's difficult to create that town identity when the town, you only visit there to play.
Yeah, it's a bit of a better incentive, isn't it? You can sign for us and live in Manchester, and then travel to Barrow.
Yeah, come on, we're out on the edge of the Lake District in Barrow. It's a beautiful place.
Country. Yes. Although it does sort of like make it seem like one of those sort of movies. It's where like, right, everyone on the van, we're going to ship you into the war zone. You're going to play football in Barrow. Then we'll get you back out to the safety of Manchester later.
Yeah, whoever said that? The safety of Manchester.
Nobody ever said that. I know. Just looking down the years since you supported them. So,
yep.
Am I right in saying that where we are right now in League Two is the highest they've ever been since you've been following them?
It's peak. Yes, it's peak. I think just before I followed them, they did top the old third division in 68-69. They briefly for one day were top. But yeah, before my time, I wasn't born then, so I was born in 72.
When you say briefly they topped it, was that alphabetical for B, or were they legitimately top?
No, even Arsenal have to finish second in that score at the beginning of the season, don't they, to Bournemouth?
Just don't even get me started on Bournemouth. That's a fake name. You can't start AFC. That goes at the end of your name. Anyway, we're talking about Barrow.
So yeah, one day they were top early in the 68, 67, 69 season. But it's the highest. We were top last year in League Two when we faced Chelsea in the FA Cup. We were top, and the TV broadcaster was calling it a high-flying Barrow, and I thought we put in a creditable performance last year in the FA Cup. I think it was 4-0 in the end. Chelsea won, but yeah, I thought it was a great performance from Barrow last year on the TV. But yeah, these are the heady days of Barrow right now. We've never had it so good, and I can't believe I'm saying that.
Yeah, I did happen to have a look at Barrow on Wikipedia, and they stated Barrow was notable for their lack of success.
Yes. The only things we've ever won, we've won 2 FA trophies. I was in the States for both of them. I've lived in the States for 30 years, so I didn't get to see either of them. But we're the only team, I think, to win the FA trophy at both Old Wembley Stadium and New Wembley Stadium. Oof. And we won against Leek Town, and then who did we play? Who did we play in 2010?
Can't remember. Trophy was it? Yeah.
FA Trophy, yeah. So that's our peak is those two victories, and the Leek Town game I listened to it on the radio, and remember at my house in the States listening there, and crackly radio and trying to, I think it was like some, it's like, what's it called? The AM radio, yeah, kind of go fading in and out. And
that must have taken it back to the 80s, no?
Yeah, exactly. So Barrow is... Go ahead.
I was going to say, you're looking for the score on CFAX. There we go. That's a real...
Exactly. Absolutely. Page 330 was the football, if you remember.
Oh my gosh, we're really alienating all the US listeners that are coming in now. This is a really old technology for looking up football scores. But so when we kind of think about highest highs, lowest lows, you mentioned the 2 cup victories. But that's kind of way back when. What about you were champions of the National League 2 years ago, wasn't it?
Exactly, yeah.
Now, that they always say is like one of the hardest leagues to get out of because it feels really unfair. Is it basically only the champions go up and then about 1 million teams go into the playoffs?
Yeah, so that was a great season. It was COVID, of course, for us, though. So 5 years ago when we got promoted. But COVID season, we were flying high. And look, we need to go back. Before we talk about that COVID season, though, I want to go talk about the lowest low before the highest high because it's kind of relevant here. So the lowest low would have been getting kicked out of the league. We didn't even finish bottom in the 72 season. I think we finished 5th to bottom. And at the time, it wasn't the bottom team gets relegated. Everybody in the bottom league, I think it was everybody in the bottom league, had to apply to have their license renewed. And it had to be a unanimous vote from everybody. And nobody liked traveling to Barrow. And so we survived in 71, but in 72... they decided to kick us out of the league, and the scumbags called Hereford, who had just beaten Newcastle in the FA Cup, and so it was all Malcolm McDonald's Newcastle, and it was
Ronnie Radford
goal.
Yeah, exactly.
This season, okay.
Fuck him. So they Hereford get freaking admitted into the Football League at our expense, and because nobody wanted to travel to Barrow. Hereford was all the rage, and so really dark days, get kicked out of the league, and we wouldn't come back for 45 years. And so we're top of the league there. Looks like we're going to get promoted. We played a couple of games more maybe than the other teams, and we were top. I think we were top by 9 points, but we'd played 2 more games, and COVID hit, and once again the FA was going to screw us over, just like they did in the 70s. It was going to be all of the seasons are null and void. There's no promotion, relegation, and all of Barrow was like it's another freaking conspiracy theory, same as it was in the 70s. Nobody wants little old Barrow to make it. Nobody wants to come up north and play us. And so in our 3-sided crappy stadium with no roof and the worst toilets in Britain, and they really were the worst toilets in Britain. We came second in a competition on that. We'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, so we thought we were going to get screwed over, and it was such a joyous day when they decided that actually the champions would go up, and then there was everybody arguing, well, it should be points per game, and we would have won our games in hand, and Barrow wouldn't have won theirs, and so yeah, super happy day. My dad called me, my aunts and uncle, everybody called me, and we were honestly, I did shed a tear that day. Oh, so yeah, that was definitely the height. Getting back in the league, 45 years away, fantastic.
And I love, one of the reasons that we started doing this pod was to kind of get all these fan stories right, and just seeing that 2 sides of the coin. So very first, my friend Jamie came on to talk about Hereford, and of course we were talking about the Ronnie Radford goal. And I've only ever known the Ronnie Radford goal impact from the old footage in the mud, striking it from like 50 yards out and it flying into the top corner. I never realised there was the Barrow side on the other side of that coin. That's kind of
This is the first time that I've had a bad view of that goal now. It's always been, what a classic goal, obviously, unless you're a Newcastle fan, of course. But yeah, what a dreadful day for Barrow.
Yeah, I mean, the goal itself didn't. I mean, ultimately, their victory against Newcastle's cost us. But yeah, I mean, I guess we were probably. My guess is people at the time were probably happy for a non-league team winning. They didn't realise the far-reaching consequences at the end of the season. That it was, and with Hereford falling out of the league, I don't think they're in the league anymore, are they? So
No, they actually got wound up. So Hereford United doesn't exist, and then Supporters Trust or whatever, and a local businessman bought them back as Hereford FC. But I don't think they've climbed. I can't remember where they are. Some Northern Conference regional division or something.
So that's very similar to the Barrow story. So the other real dark day, if you don't mind, is we were bought by a guy called Stephen Vaughan, who ended up getting mixed up with drug dealing in Manchester. Another dark story of Manchester. And so he buys the club in 2000, something like that, 1990 maybe. Well, yeah, it'd be 1990. So Vaughan buys the club in 1990, and like everything, he promised all of this stuff, but really it was just an asset stripping job. There wasn't many assets to strip, but he stripped them. And what he really did is he transferred the ground into his a building company that he owned called something like Northern Improvements, I think it was called. He transferred the ground into that name and then ran the team into the ground, and he was trying to sell it to Asda supermarkets to redevelop a business park there. And so Barrow ends up getting wound up. And supporters go to buy it, which they were successful with buying the club, but they didn't own the ground. So it took a 10-year high court battle to get the ground back. And by the time we got it back, the floodlights had to be torn down, so we weren't eligible to play in any higher league. Floodlights were all corroded; they had to be taken down. The roof had fallen in on the stands and on 3 sides, so that had to be taken off. The terraces were all crumbling. And so it was a dire state. I mentioned it before. The toilets were absolutely appalling. It was you just peed against the wall. But the good thing about peeing against the wall was only about 5 foot tall, so you could look over the wall and keep on watching the game as you were having a piss. The other bad thing about it, there was no drains in the toilet, and so you just peed. It just ran down the wall and soaked into the floor. But in January, when it's freezing cold in Barrow, it was like a skating ring, and the only thing you had to hang on to was those walls. So that's non-league football for you. And then you go and get a pie.
Your idea.
So yeah, the ground now to get back in the football league, we weren't eligible to get the football league unless we had covered away seating and so we actually they gave us 1 year to get our ground ready. Once we got promoted, we got 1 year after COVID to get the ground ready. And so they bought 2 big bus shelters. And that's what we've got, these 2 big bus shelters either side of the one stand to the home stand. These 2 bus shelters with this curved roof. And this bus shelter must have about 8 pylons in front of it. And the wall itself is probably about 5 foot tall at the front. So once you're sitting down in your seat, you can't actually see anything if you're a away supporter, but it does meet the regulations. It is a covered, seated area for away fans.
Oh my gosh! Wow. So just looking, so you made it back up into League Two. You've been there since the 2021 season. And if we look at this year, I don't want to say it's all Random Fandom's influence, but since we drew you out the hat the other day, you've played 3 times. And I'm just going to say it's 1-2 lost 1. The first one, and this is how much I got into this, right? The first one that we were following was the game against Notts County.
Yeah.
And I was watching, I had the alerts on FOTMob. I had Barrow of all teams. A little bong came up on the app. I'm like, hey, Barrow 1-0 up. And then I got to be honest, I was absolutely gutted when County equalised in the 89th minute.
89th minute, yeah.
I was like, oh, God, I thought we were going to get off to a win here with Barrow. And I kind of started doing other things. And I forgot I left the alerts on. And then Shipley, in the 97th minute,
Absolutely.
I was on the Twitter feed. It was the Barrow account was going, scenes, there's limbs everywhere. A 97th minute winner. I was like, it was actually really, really fun to just follow that along. So...
No, it's been great. Last season we started off well. I say we were top going into that FA Cup game. And then... it just all fell apart. Stephen Clements, look, his dad, Ray Clements, big Liverpool fan, obviously, so as well I am. So Ray Clements is fantastic, but his son is shit. He was shit at Gillingham. He was shit everywhere he's managed. And he only got the job at Barrow because his name was Ray Clements, and there's a lot of Liverpool fans in the Barrow area. So we just dropped down the table like a freaking sack of spuds, and we were looking for relegation. And so we got rid of Clements, hired Wing, the new manager, and bald head, ginger beard guy, quite a looker. And so So he's done great, and but like a lot of teams in League Two, you got a lot of loanees, and at the end of the season, anybody who was good gets picked up. Anybody who was loanee go back, or they were shit, and you don't want them anyway. And so we started off the season again tough. We lost our first 2 games, and it looked like we were getting another relegation fight. But made some good signings in the window. I think we picked up 5 decent players, and Wing is slowly integrating them. They were on the bench for that Notts County game, but yeah, I think things are looking up again this season, and I'm going to be optimistic, and those wins are going to continue. But that Notts County one, fantastic.
Notts County one was great. I think you lost 1-0 away to Harrogate, and then your last game was you won 2-0 away to Colchester. So I'm just going to say that all 6 points that are on the board at the moment for Barrow are since Random Fandom started following them.
It's all you.
The same.
Those are decent results too. I mean, those wins, because the Colchester, I think, are reasonably up there, and so we lost the games we lost were against teams who were Milton Keynes and Chesterfield are both in the top 3, I think. So yeah, it's not going to be too bad losing against them. We're going to rebuild our team. We'll win out.
Can I ask about the badge?
Yeah,
because I hadn't seen the badge before, and it's beautiful, isn't it? So can you see? We have some viewers, do we, on
yeah,
YouTube?
this will go out on YouTube. People, for the people that are listening on iTunes or Spotify, just go Google the Barrow AFC badge. Neil was just holding up his legendary badge to the camera just then. It looks like a cross of a submarine meets a bee that's been skewered by an arrow, and then then a football and some roses.
Yeah, so it's a bee with an arrow in it. Bee arrow, Barrow.
I think it might be the only English league team with a pun on their badge.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the red rose is because we were Lancashire, so it's the red rose of Lancashire until the county boundaries changed in 71. Football, I think that's pretty obvious what that means.
Or maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. Maybe like they have to remind people. Yeah, we do play football. I know we look terrible sometimes, but we are a football team.
In fact, Barrow likes to play good football. A bit like West Ham, they're a team that likes to keep the ball on the ground. They always have, and like to pass it around. And certainly in the Alliance Premier and Northern Premier League days, there certainly was a phase there where we lumped it forward to a big guy, to the Route 1 football. But in general, we like to play football, and that's what the people at Barrow demand. But yeah, back to the badge though. The other thing on the badge is a submarine, astute class submarine, because all of Britain's nuclear submarines, I think it's all of them, were built in Barrow, and that's what it's really famous for. Is we got the nuclear shipyard at Barrow, and then just at the coast at Windscale, we got a nuclear reprocessing plant, and we're all a bit weird in between.
So okay, so just answer me. Sorry, John. Then you can jump in with yours. But just one thing: famous for your submarines. We've got a bee with an arrow for Barrow, and we've got Lancashire roses. Those are the things that we see on the crest. Where on earth does bluebirds come from for the nickname? Because there ain't no bluebirds on that badge.
Exactly.
I'm wearing a white shirt too. Go ahead.
Exactly where I was going with the question. Yeah. What happened to the bluebirds?
Well, we've always played in blue. Our home strip's always been blue, and so I think it's just blue for the bluebirds because we played in blue. But I think that's about the only thing I can. They've had other names. The Ziggers has been the name at times. They played in black and white for a while.
The first ever strip was black and white.
Yeah.
So it's a bit like Newcastle. But your away strip this year is actually it's black and yellow. So I think they're bringing the bee theme into it.
Oh, yeah, I never thought of that. Maybe, yeah. I haven't got this year's away strip, so I'm actually wearing an older away strip right now, sponsored by Thwaites Beer. Which there you go. So
I love the sponsorship that you see around either on the shirts or just around the grounds at like the lower league side. So yeah. I remember going with my one of my best mates at home. His dad was a sponsor at Cambridge United when they were down in like the 4th tier, and just some of the sponsors you see in the programs, and it's like Jim's Chip Shop, or it's.
I totally agree with you. I mean, you get a little bit of a view of that when you're watching Burnley, because isn't Burnley's stand sponsored by some van company or something, like some local van rental place, which is kind of credible. This year Barrow, of course, is sponsored, and I think the last 3 years we've been sponsored by the government of Newfoundland and Labrador. So apparently, if you watch Barrow, you'll desperately want to move to Canada. So
Right, we got time creeping up on us here. So just quickly thinking about this year's squad, then anybody in there that's like favorite player or
the
you know?
new guy we just picked up, Whitfield, or his name is something like that. Ben, is it Ben Whitfield? Yeah, Ben Whitfield. We just picked him up from Burton. I think he's an absolute quality signing. He's going to be great. We've got a loanee who, unfortunately, a lot of our loanees came to us injured. Apparently, it was a good idea to pick him up, but guess we're paying for potential. But Kerr Smith came from Aston Villa. He's going to be pretty exciting. And then you got to mention the keeper. I'm not sure if we should have him playing or his sister playing for us because the keeper is Georgia Stanway's brother. Georgia Stanway for England Lionesses. So
Okay.
yeah, her brother is our goalkeeper. So yeah, he's done pretty well, and good to have a local lad in the team, and so happy for him too.
I think just looking up at this weekend, then you're home to Fleetwood. Fleetwood always seem to are they the ones that always seem to put good cup runs together? You never really hear about Fleetwood, and then they seem to be one of the non-league teams in the cup, or they used to
They're a
be.
local rival for us now as well. It's with Carlisle getting relegated, and Lancaster City being wound up. Our closest rival is Fleetwood, and so yeah, surprised that isn't the Boxing Day, New Year's Day game, but yeah, it's a home win.
Well, they don't want to put it on Boxing Day, and they're just in fear there will be too many TVs stolen from Rumbelows when it all goes down.
Exactly. It was a bit easier to carry one back then. They're all big now and massive. So I mean, it's allegedly easier to carry one.
Oh. I was going to say which way, because at least these days, if you pick up like an 18-inch, they're flat screen. There's nothing to them. Like the TVs in the old days, you had to put them 6 foot in front of the wall.
That's true.
Oh man! Anything else you want to dig into, John, before we wrap this one up?
I just want to know if it rains at Fleetwood, would you need a Fleetwood Mac?
Oh.
I now regretting asking. I can probably edit that out, to be honest, Neil, before I publish this.
Sorry.
So yeah, the only thing I'll add before we leave is that mid-table, second division, that's probably where we aspire to be and probably where we need to stay. We haven't got the resources. Our ground won't be up to standard to get promoted. We missed out on the playoffs by a point last year in the end after a disastrous start. But yeah, safety in mid-tier is where my aspirations are for Barrow. So yeah, playoffs would be nice.
Can't remember who I was talking to that was last season that was saying the same sort of thing. Is like, don't wish for too much too soon, because like a couple of years of just finishing just outside the playoffs, build the squad, build a bit of revenue, maybe upgrade the stand and then go up. It's better than going up, getting relegated straight back down again, losing all the players that got you up, and then doing the double whammy of dropping back down into the National League because no one wants to go there.
Exactly.
Well, Grimsby are in the same league, right?
Yep.
And they just beat Man United, didn't
they? You gotta love it.
You can aim high, I feel, in that division.
I'm going to say I'm an absolute sucker for a penalty shootout when the goalkeepers have to take penalties because it goes all the way around the team. I just love watching the keepers step up and take one. I was a bit disappointed they both scored, but in the end, I was happy with the result. Sorry, United fans. But
it's crazy though that why is your striker for United taking the 10th penalty? That was the crazy thing there. Well,
Yeah, spend all that money on Sesko and then not trust him to take a penalty. It's like
Meanwhile, Gyökeres steals the ball of a 15-year-old to grab a goal.
Oh, right. We don't need to be taking pot shots over there, Mr. Barrow. That was protecting a youngster. If he takes that penalty and misses it, that can hold back his development. So it's
sure, that's what it was.
Anyway, right. Absolute pleasure having you on, Neil. I will be looking forward to the Barrow game this weekend, even though we're not necessarily going to be focusing on them. It's going to be difficult not to turn the alerts off for Barrows. So there you go. You've got 2 more fans to follow Barrow this season.
Love it. I love it. We've tripled our attendance, American attendance.
Excellent. Good luck for the rest of the season. Cheers, Neil.
Cheers. Thanks a lot. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Oh, awesome. Thank you, Neil. That was absolutely brilliant. And thank you, John, for finding them. I mean, I honestly, I think we said in the recording, or maybe we said before we press record, when we were sat at the bar watching the Liverpool game and we were talking about we got a Barrow fan, how we're going to find one, your eyes just lit up and you're, I know a Barrow fan. I was like, how? How is this possible? And more than that, when I was chatting to him before we pressed record, I was asking him where he lives because, you and I live quite close together here in mighty Avon, Connecticut. He was also in Avon before he moved. And when he said where he literally lived around the corner from me. In fact, the house that I remember having a British flag outside it was his. So that is completely small world syndrome. But that was great chatting to him. Loved
It
it.
was superb, wasn't it? Yeah, great to hear all the stories.
I don't know what the equivalent of Rumbelows would be over here. I mean, it's like sorry Rumbelows, but it's going to be like a lower level Best Buy, isn't it? It's going to be a real small version of Best Buy with some cheap TVs.
I
That's
think
about.
you're making Rumbelows sound better than it is.
Oh
Best
man.
Buy's too upmarket, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, true. Right, on to serious business. We have to ask the supercomputer who we're going to be following this week. So let's fire it up. So we were in League Two Barrow this time round. We're limiting ourselves to the top 6 flights, I think it was, of English football. So there's a chance we could go lower. There's a chance we can go higher. So let's fire it up. Ooh, okay. We're moving up a division. We're
Cool.
going to League. We're going to League One. And we're going to a team which I always think its badge looks like it could be. I think if I've got this right, it might be embarrassing myself now. The one that looks like it could be almost the Swansea badge because we're going to be following Wycombe Wanderers. I'm sure they've got. Haven't Wycombe got a swan as a badge, or have I made that up completely? I think they have, haven't they? Or they got some bird anyway. We'll find out as we dive into supporting them over the next couple of weeks. Wycombe Wanderers. Yeah, there we are. What's that badge there? That looks like a swan. It looks like a swan to me. Anyway, we will find out. We will be following the mighty Wycombe. Let's have a quick look and see what the first game is going to be tomorrow.
Stevenage away.
Oh, Stevenage away. Oh, that's a tricky one to jump straight into, isn't it? Where are I don't even know where they are on the table. Let's have a quick look. We have got Wycombe. Oh dear, Wycombe are 21st out of 24th. And did you say Stevenage?
Stevenage, yes.
Where are they? Huh? Don't even see them in the. Oh, the third. That's why I'm scrolling up and I still haven't found them. Okay, this could be a challenge to put the random fandom magic, but it worked for Barrow against Notts County. So come on, Wycombe, we're going to be following you. If you are a Wycombe fan or you know a Wycombe fan, it would be great to get a Wycombe fan to come on and talk about them. If not, it'll just be me and John pulling out facts from Wikipedia and YouTube clips of Wycombe's finest moments, whatever those are. You don't happen to know a Wycombe fan, do you, John? Like your next door neighbour is a Wycombe fan or anything?
Not the top of my head, but give me the weekend. I'll have a pint, watch the Arsenal game, and maybe I'll think of someone.
We may not record again, depending on what the result is of that Liverpool Arsenal game. This could be just a 2 recording partnership, and then we're done.
Are you confident?
I'm never confident with Arsenal. I'm less confident going to Anfield. So who knows? You guys haven't looked brilliant at the back. You look like you're going to let in goals, but you're almost like Kevin Keegan's Newcastle. You look like you're going to score them for fun at the other end. So if we can keep you out, I think we could grind out like maybe a 1-0 win. But I'm kind of feeling like a score draw, maybe even a high score draw, like 2-2 or something, because I don't see you keeping a clean sheet the way you started your first 2 games, but I also don't actually see us keeping you out. What are you thinking?
I think there is a guarantee that you will score a corner. We should put money on that immediately. There will be a goal from a corner.
There will be a goal from a corner, okay.
Yeah,
and will there be somebody moaning about how somebody touched the goalkeeper too much and it shouldn't have counted? Because, that's all I listened to from the Man United game.
Well, I hope not. I don't want to be bad in. I don't think I was going to say bad in defeat. I don't think we're going to lose though. I think there'll be lots of goals.
Take a draw. Right now, I would snap your arm off for a draw because I think even if your new signings haven't gelled, and even if you do look a bit shaky at the back, it's still Anfield. You're still the defending champions. I would quite happily take 2-2 and move on to the next fixture because we've got a dodgy little run. And if we can come through that with north of 10, 12 points out of taking away at United, away at you, then we got City. So, yeah. Anyway, we need to be just sidetracking ourselves with Arsenal and Liverpool.
Sorry.
We have got the mighty Wycombe Wanderers to get on board with. So, anything else you want to add, John, before we both dive into Wycombe research?
Well, I mean, just looking at the badge, it does look like a goose or a swan, and it looks like it's having a shit.
And on that breaking news.
Unless I think it's a necklace. Maybe it's eating a necklace. I don't know. It's a strange badge.
Please. So if you are a Wycombe fan, please come on so that we can talk to you about anything else. Because otherwise, what you're going to hear is me and John dissecting whether or not a swan is having a shit. And on that note, we'll catch you next time.